Welcome back, viewers. Let's take a look at the latest headlines that are making this hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi departs for Croatia, marking the final stop of his three-nation tour after wrapping up a productive visit to Canada, where he participated in the G7 summit. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds a telephonic conversation with US President Donald Trump, categorically telling him that India halted the Operation Sindoor because Pakistan begged for a ceasefire. In a big breakthrough in ties, India and Canada agreed to reinstate ambassadors to each other's capitals months after the bitter diplomatic fallout between India and Ottawa. The DNA samples of 184 victims have matched with their kins after the tragic London-bound Air India flight 171 met with a devastating crash. A series of powerful Israeli strikes rocked the Iranian capital of Tehran, marking the most direct and the intense escalation yet. The strike comes hours after Trump's unconditional surrender warning to Tehran. US President Donald Trump is slated to meet Pakistani Army Chief General Asim Munir, who is in Washington on an official visit at the White House today. India's Captain Shubhanshu Shukla's Asim 4 missile has once again been postponed just ahead of its initially planned launch date on the 19th of June, marking the fourth delay for the mission. NASA, Axiom Space and SpaceX are now targeting a launch date no earlier than 22nd June. Now, viewers, focus is back on the escalating conflict between Israel and Iran, where the latest development focus over that 4 Jafri Express coaches have been derailed following an explosion in Balochistan's Jacobabad. The train was en route from Peshawar to Quetta. According to police, the blast left a 3-foot wide crater on the track and around 6 feet of the rail line has been completely destroyed. No casualties have been reported so far, is what we are learning. Ajay Jandyal is joining me with more updates. Ajay, as this breaking development that we are learning, explosion in Balochistan, Jacobabad has taken place. Videos are also being spread on social media, being shared widely. And as no casualties have been reported in the explosion, what are you picking up as far as the ground reality is concerned?
See, the fresh development says that BLG is one of a group operating in the Balochistan. They claim the responsibility that they have targeted this Jafri Express, which was on way to Quetta from Quetta to Punjab, and in Jacobabad they say that with the use of remote controlled ID they have carried out this explosion, which created a created over here, and that resulted into the derailing of the 6 bogies of Jafri Express. This was a target by the this BLG, which is a Balochistan Liberation Guard, which is another group operating in the Balochistan, and that indicates that Pakistan has to face such consequences over there in the Balochistan, because they continuously claim that Balochistan is not a part of Pakistan. So that's why they have carried out this attack. And if you see that in last few months, this is the second such attempt on the this Jafri Express, because earlier it was hijacked and number of people were killed by the BLA people, and this time they have carried out an attack on the this Jafri Express. That shows that how non-seriously government in Pakistan they operate, and they are scared. Basically, they did not operate in Balochistan and part of Balochistan, whether it is a Quetta or other areas, because they always having a fear that they can be targeted. The Pakistani forces can be targeted any time. So that seems to be the reason. But in this fresh development in which Jafri Express was targeted by the BLG, there is no fatal casualties report, but yes, there are injuries to the passenger, those who those who are on board, and 6 bogies that was derailed there in the Jacobabad in Pakistan, Balochistan.
Well, all right. In fact, Ajay, my colleague, shares the latest that he's gathering at this point of time as the explosions are being reported in Balochistan's Jacobabad. Now, from there, viewers, let's shift our focus to the big story. Tensions are continuing to escalate in the Middle East. The war between Israel and Iran has now entered its sixth straight day. US President Donald Trump has issued an unconditional warning to Tehran, but Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has made a very clear statement. The battle has just begun. Human rights groups have said that at least 585 people have been killed across Iran. Meanwhile, 1,326 others have also been injured. Posting on the social media platform X, the IDF has stated officially that it has attacked a centrifuge production site and several weapon manufacturing sites overnight in Tehran. Israel has claimed that over 50 Air Force fighter jets guided by precise intelligence from the Intelligence Directorate carried out a series of strikes on the military targets in the capital of Tehran. While the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps have claimed to have launched Fatah-1 missiles aimed at Tel Aviv, Israel has stated that it has eliminated another top Iranian military officer as the conflict continues to intensify even aggressively. What is the fate of the Middle East? Will the tensions escalate or douse soon? Are negotiations on the card or not? Well, these are some of the looming questions that remain unanswered as we speak. And in fact, to speak more on the prevailing situation that is on the boil in the Middle East, I have my guest, Mr. Ali Nach, who's the Deputy Mayor of Ashdod in Israel. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us on the broadcast, and appreciate you joining me live on the telecast. As we speak, there are more casualties that could be reported possibly in the hours to come. The IDF has issued a statement while Khamenei has said that the war has just begun. How do you react to the present state of strikes, the precision strikes, and also at the same time the kind of statements that are being made officially from both the nations that are lodged in a high stake conflict at this point of time in Middle East?
Thank you for joining me, and you can see that Israel is aiming into army infrastructure, into nuclear facilities, into missiles infrastructure, everything that has a threat to Israel, everything has a threat to the Western world. And on the other side, Iran is aiming into civil population, and their goal is to cause as much more casualties among civilians, people who have nothing to do with the army. So we can see the difference between those two sides. We understand that during the last 10 years, 15 years, Iran was declaring openly, not hiding, that their only aim is to eliminate Israel as a state, that they want to do whatever that they can do in order to kill everyone in Israel. They called death to Israel, death to United States. Their radical regime in Iran was taking all the money, all the tax money of the population of 95 million population, and instead of being able supplying them with good economical situation, food and everything, what they've been actually doing, they've been investing all this money into ammunition, into nuclear programs, all in order to being able to start a war with Europe, with Israel, and they've been just waiting for the right timing in order to accomplish their nuclear program. So in that moment, of course, a war with Iran would have different consequences. of course, much more deadly, much more problematic. So we understand that this was a preventable, okay, strike that Israel had to do in order to defend themselves. And we see even yesterday the Chancellor of Germany saying that Israel is doing the work for all the world. So we understand that right now Israel is in the front, and fighting and sacrificing itself for the benefit of the good, for the benefit of the free world.
Sir, I understand from where you are coming at this point of time, but you know, this is a geopolitical tension that is on a rise with Israel and Iran both lodged in a high-stake conflict. And even when we are discussing about the outcomes, the ramification, what importantly maintains at this point of time as the first step in the direction of a negotiation, as US President Donald Trump has also in his statement cited the negotiation to be the way forward. From Israel as well, how do you look at the de-escalation part initiated in the regards of the damage that has been done? There has been enough damage at the strike, at the bases which have been guarded at both the sides.
First of all, I don't think that this is the period of negotiations, because we do not trust Iran. We do not trust what they are telling, what they are promising. We showed to the whole world when we brought their archives from the nuclear program, that they've been lying to everybody, to all the international community, that their program is not for peace, that they are planned for missiles, ballistic missiles, for army war reasons. And they had many promises during all those years. All of them were a lie. So that's why myself personally, I don't trust anything that Iran will tell in the negotiation table. And that's why that before we will be able to go to the negotiation table, it's important that we will do as much as we can in the window of opportunity when the whole world understands what we are doing, and even encouraging us. We saw the support from France, from Britain, from Germany, of course from United States, from other very important and big countries around the world, who is applauding to what we are doing and understanding that we are doing the dirty work for everybody. That's why we need to finish what we started, okay? To demolish, to destroy all their nuclear program, all their ballistic program, for not being able to them to being a threat anymore to Israel and other countries. And only after that, we can actually sit and negotiate about things, when we understand that they are not longer a threat to the free world. This is my understanding. Of course,
Mr. Eli, all right. Are you saying that negotiation is not on the cards with the situation that is presently being unfolded?
If you ask me, not in the next 2 weeks.
Not in the next 2 weeks is what you expect it to be.
Yes, this is my opinion. Of course, what Russia couldn't do for the last 3 years, we've been able to do in 3 days. I understand. And our mission is, once again, to finish what we started regarding the arsenal of Iran, regarding their missiles infrastructure and nuclear program. When we will finish with all those three purposes, three goals, we will be able to start negotiating, of course, in a much more secure manner, not just trusting, but being able to have guarantees, that Iran will not longer renew its nuclear weapon or other programs to arm herself once again against Israel.
Mr. Ali, before I let you go, it's important to also put the focus on these developments that we are tracking from the confirmed reports that also in fact detail that Iranian leaders are getting the worst of this full blown out war. They are suffering the most dangerous security breach since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, which is the country's cyber security command banned officials from using the communication devices and the mobile phones. Now, at this time, when there is sensitivity, there is fear, there is also in fact there is a sense of chaos that's unfolding within the country during the time of crisis. How do you look at the situation that's being unfolded as civilians are also not being being able to use the communication devices and even the social media messaging platforms as well to communicate further in Iran?
First of all, it's important for me to tell you that our war is not against the civilians and it's not against the Iranian people. We love the Iranian people and we care for the Iranian people. And the Iranian people themselves want to be liberated. They want to get free of this radical Islamic regime that is working against their own people. And we can see it, and everybody in the world can see it. And we are really sorry. We are really sorry that there is a lot of, you know, how would I tell you? It's not just uncomfortable situation, yes, but it's a miserable situation for the Iranian people that they need to suffer. And we are trying to minimize as much as possible, of course, the casualties and all what is going on inside the you know, civilians' life, usually life, common life. And this is not our goal. Of course, when there is a war, so it's problematic for everybody. But it's important to say that we are trying to help the Iranian people. And we are not trying to somehow to fight against the Iranian people. We do not attack civilians, buildings, homes. There are no casualties, you know. There have been so much fire and many attacks on Iran, and you can see that only in a very chirurgic way, the people who've been killed or injured or suffered was the army commanders, was the people who is leading Iran towards ammunition and fight against Israel. We are focusing on those people who are radical fighters for the radical Islam. This is our goal. And that's why we are trying to do our best. We are really trying to do our best to not hurt anyone who has nothing to do with this military regime and Islamic regime. This is what we are trying to do. So we are
all
really
right. If I put it out, in fact, in a perspective that you're trying to maintain here is that innocents and civilians are completely not in the target and the hit list as far as Israel continues to make its stand clear amid the ongoing escalating conflict. Well, on that note, Mr. Ali Nach, thank you very much for joining us live and being with us on the telecast. Now, viewers, on that, let's also take a look with more developments coming in at this point of time. 110 Indian students, including 90 students from Jammu and Kashmir and others from the different parts of the country, have safely reached the Armenian capital of Yerevan. We are now learning that the government has arranged for their travel back to the country. The students are currently on their way to Doha, Qatar, from where they will board a connecting flight to New Delhi at around 3 p.m. They are also expected to arrive in Delhi by 10:15 p.m. today. Not that, sources have stated that the government has also arranged for their travel back to Srinagar in order to ensure a complete journey home for the students. Aditya Vadavan continues to be with us live on the broadcast. When the security of the students in the Middle East concerned during the tensions that are on the rise, Aditya, there is a flight that has been specially arranged by the Indian Embassy in Iran for the safety and ensuring the safety of these Indian students studying abroad. What more details are you picking up?
Well, as far as yes, absolutely, the Indian Embassy has managed to evacuate the first batch of the Indian students. Out of these 110 Indian students, 90 are from Jammu and Kashmir, and all as per sources, all these tickets have been provided free of cost by the Indian Embassy. There, they have been booked free of cost, to bring back all the standard Indian students in Tehran. Right now, they are on the way to Doha, and from Doha, they will take the Indigo flight number 6E, Indigo flight from Doha, which will reach Delhi today night at 10:15 p.m. So at this juncture, the entire situation is now under control, because more there could be, given the fluid situation in the Middle East, more advisories could be issued by the Ministry of External Affairs, which needs to be seen. Yes, Simran.
Well, all right. In fact, Aditya, continue to be with us on the broadcast, as what we are learning next is that Jammu and Kashmir's Doda district's DC Harvinder Singh has shared that 7 students pursuing MBBS currently in Iran have moved to safe locations. 7 students of the district were studying in Iran and have now been traced. The Indian Embassy is actively working to ensure the safety of these students who have been relocated to safer areas, providing some relief to the families. This has come as 110 students from the country studying in Iran are en route to the national capital. Aditya, what are the latest updates?
All these JNK students from JNK who were pursuing medicine in Iran have been moved to safe locations, and they also will be brought back to India soon, because the first batch of Indians Indian students who were stuck in Tehran are being brought back to the country safely, and we can expect in the days to come the second batch of all the Indian students can also be brought back. Yes, Simran.
All right, Aditya. In fact, continue to be with us, as what we are learning next is that US Navy has dispersed the fleet in Bahrain as tensions mount due to the Israel-Iran conflict. This comes after the US officials have stated that the US military is deploying more fighter aircrafts to the Middle East and extending the deployment of their other warplanes, bolstering the US military forces in the region. When we speak about the warfare, US increases military presence in Middle East. What are you picking up in that?
Well, absolutely. We have seen reports, how US has, moved its nuclear power submarine USS Nimitz to the Middle East amid the heightened tensions between Iran and Israel. And, it is expected that the nuclear submarines and the military assets of the United States carried F-22s and F-35 aircrafts. Though, the Iranian army has claimed that it has shot down 2 of F-35 fifth generation aircrafts, stealth aircrafts, but, more so, these deployments by the US in the Middle East gives Donald Trump more options as to how they can, target the nuclear infrastructure of Iran. And as per some reports, the B-52 bombers could be used to destroy the underground nuclear sites of Iran at this juncture. Simran.
All right. In fact, Aditya, now visuals are emerging out of Iranian air defense system intercepting Israeli missiles in Tehran as the two countries continue to trade the cross-firing and the cross-border strikes. Aditya.
Right, absolutely. We have just the Iranian state media had recently released a video where the Iranian air defense systems have intercepted incoming Israeli missiles from over Tehran, and it needs to be seen from here on how this entire situation unfolds, because at this juncture the situation is getting tense, and Iran is also expected to retaliate to these incoming Israeli missiles. Yes, Simran.
All right, the Israeli military has now said, and viewers, what we are learning next is that it intercepted 3 unmanned aerial vehicles launched from Iran. In fresh visuals, the first flight carrying Israelis stranded abroad since Israel closed its aerial space last week are seen landing at Ben Gurion International Airport. Israeli Transportation Minister Miri Regev has greeted the plane's captain. via the control room radio. IDF has also issued a statement, Aditya, intercepted 3 unmanned aerial missiles. Israeli military still intercepting the Iran strikes is what we are learning in the visuals we can see, while details are also emerging out of the conflict, Aditya.
Well, absolutely, Simran. The Israeli defense forces have intercepted the incoming Iranian UAE unmanned aerial vehicles, drones over its airspace, and now they are maintaining highest of the highest alert because under very small gaps, in a very small frequencies, Iran is launching the attacks on Israel, be it through drones, be it through UAVs, be it through ballistic missiles, be it through hypersonic missiles. So, at this juncture, there is a wider escalation going on, which could be catastrophic for the entire Middle East. Yes, Simran.
All right, Aditya, continue to be with us on the telecast as in fresh visuals. The first flight carrying Israelis stranded abroad since Israel closed its aerial airspace last week are seen landing at Ben Gurion International Airport. Israeli Transportation Minister Miri Regev greeted the plane's captain via the control room radio. Details have emerged about, in fact, Aditya, what we are learning is the first flight carrying stranded Israeli reaches.
Well, absolutely. The first flight carrying the stranded, Israelis have reached the Ben Gurion airport, and at this juncture, since this Israelis engaged in a war with Iran, so Israel is taking no steps, it's taking all steps to ensure the safety of its citizens. In whichever corner the Israelis are, they are bringing them back, and at this juncture, first batch of these Israeli have been carried back, and the flight has landed at Ben Gurion Airport, and we could see several such flights carrying Israelis back to Israel. Yes, Simran.
All right, in fact, now Aditya, thank you very much for joining us live on the telecast and sharing the latest updates. Now, in the latest, after the fatal Air India crash in Ahmedabad, claiming the lives of nearly 300 people, the Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner involved in the fatal Ahmedabad plane crash that resulted in actually 275 casualties has yielded some details. Sources have revealed that the VT-ANB 7878 Dreamliner that was operating Air India flight underwent a major maintenance check in June 2022 and was due for its next check in 2025 December. Shahid Ansari is joining me live as sources say that the Boeing 7878 Dreamliner had underwent the mandatory checks in June 2022. That's just 3 years back from today, when the crash took place. So, what exactly were the findings of the mandatory check that Boeing 7878 had reported?
देखिए सिमरन, जो जून 2022 में जो है ये जो सी चेकिंग हुई थी, उस दौरान जो है देखिए ये एक सिस्टम होता है फ्लाइट में कि फ्लाइट जो है तकरीबन 6000 हवाई जो किलोमीटर होते हैं वो काउंट किया जाता है। उसके साथ साथ 18 से 24 माह काउंट किए जाते हैं। इस दौरान जो है फ्लाइट का जो है सी चेकिंग होता है। इससे पहले जो फ्लाइट की होती है ए चेकिंग, जिसमें रोजमर्रा की चेकिंग शामिल होती है। सी चेकिंग में जो है वो सारी चीजें शामिल होती हैं। फिर उसके साथ साथ जो है इंजन की पावर और ये सारा सब कुछ जो है स्ट्रक्चर, और इसके साथ साथ जो है इंटीरियर और इंजन की कैपेसिटी पावर, ये सारी चीजें जो है सी चेकिंग में आती हैं। जबकि डी चेकिंग जो है 6 से 10 साल में होती है, उसके लिए पूरे प्लेन की चेकिंग होती है। इस विमान का भी जो है जून 2022 में चेकिंग हो चुकी थी, और उसके बाद जो है इस साल की बात करें तो मार्च 2025 में ओवरहॉल इंस्टॉल किया गया था। फिर उसके साथ साथ अप्रैल में जो है, अप्रैल के महीने में इसकी फिर से चेकिंग हुई थी, जो रूटीन चेकिंग होती है इंजन की या दूसरे बॉडी स्ट्रक्चर या बॉडी की। तो वो सब कुछ जो है परफेक्ट रहा है, किसी भी तरह की कोई दिक्कत नहीं थी। इस जांच में ये बातें सामने आई थी। हालांकि अब तक जो है पहले ये कयास लगाया जा रहा था उसके इंजन को लेकर, उसके टेक्निकल खामियों को लेकर, लेकिन आपको मैं बता दूं कि हमारे सोर्सेज से जो पता चला है उस दौरान जो है कि सी चेकिंग के बाद अभी लास्ट जो आखिरी चेकिंग जो उसकी हुई है अप्रैल के महीने में जो है, और मार्च में जो उसका ओवरहॉल चेंज किया गया है, तो ये सारी चीजें सब कुछ इस दौरान जो है किसी भी तरह की कोई खामी जो है विमान में नजर नहीं आई। यही वजह रही है कि विमान को उड़ने में जो है किसी भी तरह की कोई दिक्कत नहीं रही। तो जो पायलट रहे या जिनके सुपुर्द किया गया था उनको किसी भी तरह की दिक्कत भी नहीं आई। अब ये जानकारी जो मिली है, इस जानकारी के मुताबिक टेक्निकल खामियों को लेकर सवाल उठ रहे थे, तो अब तक जो है टेक्निकल खामियों को लेकर ये बात सामने आ गई है कि सब कुछ परफेक्ट था। अब असल वजह तो यही जांच के बाद ही पता चल पाएगी, लेकिन अब तक जो सोर्सेज से पता चला है वो ये मालूम पड़ा है कि सी चेकिंग जो है हो चुकी थी और उस विमान की जो है उसकी उड़ान और कितने किलोमीटर की उड़ान और मियाद दोनों चीजें, ड्यूरेशन दोनों देखा जाता है। तो इसमें 6000 किलोमीटर जो उड़ान होती है, 6000 हवाई जो घंटे होते हैं, मैं माफ कीजिएगा मैंने किलोमीटर कहा है, 6000 जो हवाई घंटे होते हैं वो काउंट किया जाता है। उसके साथ साथ जो है जो 18 से 24 महीने जो होते हैं वो काउंट किए जाते हैं। और इस विमान का जो है दिसंबर में उस हिसाब से देखा जाए तो जो हवाई घंटे 6000 हवाई घंटे उस हिसाब से देखा जाए तो दिसंबर में ये वापस से जो है सी चेकिंग होनी थी, लेकिन उससे पहले ही यह विमान हादसे का शिकार हो गया है। अब चूंकि जो सिमरन जो जांच एजेंसियां हैं, जो जांच है, जांच रिपोर्ट आएगी तो उसके बाद ही असल वजह पता चल पाएगी। लेकिन कयास आ रही है जो चल रही थी कि विमान की तकनीकी खराबियों को लेकर, तो अब तक की ये रिपोर्ट सामने हमारे आई है। जी
All right, in fact, Shahid, continue to be with us as we are also learning more updates over the probe that has been launched and the SIT that has also been constituted. Newsx is also, in fact, found out, the sources have revealed that the right-hand engine of the AI-171 Dreamliner had returned from the shop, overhauled and installed in the March 2025, while the left-hand engine was inspected as per the manufacturer's protocol in April 2025. It was just 3 months back, Shahid, that the left hand of the engine was inspected 3 months back of the Boeing 787 of the AI-171 flight. So how does that in fact also mean for the reasons that must have caused the fatal air crash?
हाँ देखिए सिमरन, मैंने पहले ही आपको बताया है कि किसी भी जो है विमान की जो चेकिंग होती है ABCD, ये 4 चरणों में होती है। ए में यानी जो रूटीन होता है कि आप देखते हैं जब कोई भी फ्लाइट से उड़ान भरती है तो उससे पहले जो सारी चेकिंग होती है। बी जो है कुछ इसी तरह की होती है। सी में जो है जो मैंने आपको अभी बताया कि 6000 हवाई घंटे काउंट किए जाते हैं, 18 से 24 घंटे। डी में जो है 6 से 10 साल काउंट किए जाते हैं, उसके बाद पूरा। अब इस विमान की अगर बात करें तो इसी साल की है, इसी साल मार्च के महीने में ओवरहॉल इंस्टॉल किया गया था। फिर उसके साथ साथ मार्च के महीने में वापस से जो है इसकी जांच हुई थी और इस दोनों प्रक्रिया में, इस जांच में जो है किसी भी तरह की कोई दिक्कत, कोई खामी नजर नहीं आई, बल्कि सब कुछ जो है परफेक्ट रहा है, सब कुछ ठीक ठाक रहा है। इंजन से लेकर दूसरी चीजें सब कुछ ठीक ठाक रही। इंजन के पावर को लेकर बात करें, सब कुछ ठीक ठाक रहा है। बावजूद इसके हादसे का शिकार हो गया है। तो अब चूंकि वजह जो है, जो जांच टीम है सिमरन, जो वजह वही बता पाएगी कि जब 3 महीने के बाद जो है इसकी रिपोर्ट सबमिट की जाएगी। अब तक जो है आप बात करें तो अब सिर्फ कयास आराइयों का सिलसिला जारी है। अब कयास के बुनियाद पर यह बात कही जा रही थी कि इसके इंजन बेहतर नहीं थे, या बहुत सारी बातें सामने आई थी इससे पहले, लेकिन अब तक की जो रिपोर्ट हमें मिली है सोर्सेज से, जो पता चला है कि ये सारी बातें सामने आई है कि उसके जो अब इस साल की बात करें तो उसका जो ओवरहॉल इंस्टॉल किया गया है वो मार्च के महीने में किया गया था, जून के और उसके बाद अप्रैल के महीने में उसकी बाकी जो जांच होती है जो बेसिक वो हुई थी। सब कुछ ठीक रहा है। उसी अप्रैल के महीने में अगर कोई टेक्निकल खराबी होती तो अप्रैल के महीने में ये पता चल जाता। तो हो सकता है कि विमान उड़ान नहीं भरता, लेकिन ऐसी कोई बात नहीं थी, ये जानकारी में हमें पता चला है। जी
All right, Shahid, thank you very much with the latest updates that you are tracking in this regard. Now viewers, with more news and updates on the other side, stay tuned.